Hello and good day, everybody. Welcome to today's session. So excited that you could be here with us as we discuss the tremendous amount of benefit and savings that you can gain utilizing Visme to create your content, cutting down that design time, and furthermore, cutting down costs. I am your host, Kalyn Lewis. I'm head of sales and customer experience here at Visme. Let's make sure my audio is coming through okay. Do my quick sound check. And this also use this opportunity to go over some of the tech of the system. If you guys can all head out into the chat for me, say hello. Better yet, tell me where you are joining us from. I do have some hands raising, and so that tells me my audio is probably coming through okay. I'll watch for some of these chats to come in. Oh, and here they go. Awesome. Addison Riley from Wisconsin. I am actually in Wisconsin myself, based in the Chippewa Falls area. Addison, let me know where you're based. And as we always see folks from everywhere, Poland, Boulder. I look forward to spending some time in Breckenridge and Denver in the month of March here for the one joining us from Boulder, Zambia, Atlanta. I mean, these are rolling in. Oh, Darlington, I know right where that is. Minneapolis. Megan, I'm right in your neck of the woods too, Minneapolis being a neighbor to me. It's so great to have Egypt. Oh my gosh, this is probably really one of my favorite parts of our webinars is kicking things off and having the audience jump in and tell us where they're joining us from. Thank you, everybody. And that's a really good sign of life here that you can all hear me. Let's just do some quick troubleshooting though. For those of you that I look like a mime, can't hear me at all. Here's some troubleshooting steps for you. If you cannot hear me, please feel free to reference the slide here. Double check some of your audio settings, even if you're having a hard time and things might not be coming through as crystal clear as you would like. Usually I always find exiting and rejoining and just maybe even closing some of your browser tabs or other apps that you have open to spare your bandwidth, because we do a lot of video sharing. That can definitely help speed up your resolution and overall quality experience today. This session is being recorded. That is a typical question that we have. I want to reassure you this is being recorded. You might have heard me flip on the recording in progress, right when we were getting going here today. In any event, if you have to jump off early today, or if there's something that you might have tuned out on, maybe you're multitasking through today's session, rest assured you can always find all of our on-demand events on our webinars page. So please feel free to head out there. Throughout today's session, not only will I be presenting and here to answer as many of your questions live, covering our agenda today, I have some Vismeers here that are co-hosting and helping me. We have Alan and Catherine, who are members of my customer success team. I saw a lot of people on our registration list that are probably very familiar with Alan and Catherine. A lot of our key accounts and teams that are using Visme joining us today. Alan and Catherine will be here to field any of your questions. To that point, we love having an active chat. Drop in your feel goods, give us your reactions inside of that chat. We live for it. Our team is oftentimes dropping in some helpful resources that might support some of the things I'm going over for, because we are a teaching and learning organization, everybody. We are really here to make sure that you have all of the right resources in the format that you like to learn. So our team will be dropping in a lot of those relevant resources right in the chat for you, so you can save those for next time. We then have our Q&A window. That is where we request that you place your questions, which then allows our team to answer those in a really nice organized way. So please do feel free to drop those in there, and our team looks forward to helping you with those. With that being said, everybody, key point of today's session is really that users in Visme, they're saving a ton of time on their content creation. We've been working and operating in a world, and it's kind of always like we've always done it this way, right? Like the kiss of death for organizations, we've always done it this way, and not transforming into new capabilities, new tech, or just even new processes and features and things that allow them to speed things up. And I think we can all be on the same page that 2023 was a year of, I think the coined phrase of 2023 was doing more with less. So being able to speed up your processes, save time, whether you're doing that individually as a solo creator in Visme, we're going to go over a lot of great things for you today. A lot of the features I'm going over will be very helpful for you as well. But really where a lot of our time savings is going to be depicted through our customer stories is through our case studies on our case studies page. A couple of call out ones that I want to bring forward here on screen, one of which just launched the day before yesterday. I was so excited for this story to come out because it is our highest amount of time savings that we have had a team demonstrate with us through their use of Visme. Gagalamp, being a technology provider and platform, their marketing and sales team working in Visme together to save 95% in time. Holy smokes, like the amount of hours that is being saved creating content, whether that time savings is then allowing you to create more content. If you're in the marketing space, being able to do more, constantly being able to pump out new things and support any of your other adjacent departments that you work with and you are creating things for. To get that time back allows you so much more in your day, either to create even more effective content or to hone in on your processes, hone in on your campaigns and your efforts, to continue to evolve and do more, because you're not always burdened with that constant stack of to-do items that just feel like they never end. So to save that time is really tremendous and transformative. For a sales team, in that particular story, our top users that we have coming into Visme, and at the end of the day, anybody can use Visme, right? And that's what makes our job so fun. We work with so many different industries, so many different personas, departments, professionals, even students, and those that are not creating professional content. If you need to make anything, Visme is for you. We're that all-in-one content solution. But a lot of our key individuals coming in that we work with in our key accounts would be in the marketing side, sales side, HR, and even training content creators. Obviously stretching into other more operational, administrative departments, even analyst-based departments as well. But that sales team also in Gagalamp, let's talk about sales and what it means to save time when you're in the sales department. If you get time back, not having to spend hours creating a proposal, a pitch deck, a deliverable to your prospects, that is more time that you get to spend working your pipeline, managing that pipeline, managing wherever that lives inside of your CRM, perhaps. Furthermore, it gives you even more time to work on your relationships. Sales is about relationships. So being able to really focus more of that time on building those relationships so that you can achieve your goals in the sales side of the organization is massive. Another storyline here coming in from Wow Inc., saving nearly 79% in time and cost. That so happens to be a training team. Not only are they using Visme to create training content that is being delivered outside of a learning management system, but Visme also has the benefit of being able to export training content as SCORM files, being able to then place those into learning management systems, including the ability to create interactive training content. So really massive savings, and even attributing that to overall cost savings. Those are both case studies available out on our website. Everybody, welcome to read the whole story. And we always include actual examples from our users inside of those. And it's a great way to get ideas and inspiration. Furthermore, sharing some very recognizable logos coming in and using Visme as well. I saw some names inside of our audience today that, in fact, are probably joining us. They might even see their logo on this view here. It's great to have you. I'm very excited to dive into really what are the, are the 4 key items here that are driving our agenda. And we're not going to be very slide heavy today. Really, this is my last slide, and I'm using this as my North Star. In fact, I'm going to navigate out of my full screen view. So how does all of this time savings and benefit really happen? And it's really around these 4 core concepts, everybody. Collaboration. Whether you are, again, in Visme alone, there's still collaboration experts for you as a solo creator that could really maximize time savings. We're going to go over that for you today. Visibility. While we have gotten into IT systems that allow us to have a lot more cloud storage and find what we need, still in business, there's still that risk of someone creating something locally on their computer, and you do not get to have that. And I've got some stories I'll share that I've learned from others that are just like gut-wrenching and heartbreaking in terms of like what they have to wait for and work to gain from other team members that might have created something locally. And they can't get that immediately on their own. They have to kind of go out and find out from, hey, does somebody have a presentation that kind of has A, B, C, X, Y, Z? And they have to sit and wait until somebody sends something back to them. So that enablement of having everything in one place and allowing people to get access to what they need when they need it so they can perform their motions rather than having to wait, that's a huge enablement. We also have project management and scaled updating components as well. project management and staying organized and systematic on how things are being created across potentially multiple people so they get done and get out the door in a more efficient fashion, and also giving team members visibility into how that project work is getting done. That goes hand in hand as well. And we all know when it comes to content, content becomes outdated. Content needs to be updated. So to be able to manage content at one time in one place from a single source, we have a collection of different features that offer that. So I want to go over that today. There's also the components of governance and controls. It's really powerful to get into a creative tool, isn't it, everybody? But there's also risks that come with that. Getting team members inside of a creative solution like Visme can allow people to go rogue. Let's just be honest. Being able to then set guide rails on what the team is able to do, even supporting yourself as a solo creator to have more narrow access points to key things you need, is going to speed up your process to get things created and out the door more quickly, and to maintain that consistency. And in many cases, in the professional world, compliance. We have to have compliance and key things within our content, not even just honoring our brand, but language that needs to be really accurate and locked in place. All of these things we're going to go through today. I'm going to continue to come back to the slide again as my North Star to help us go through that agenda. What you'll notice here, using some of Visme's interactive features, everybody. And actually, everybody, at about this time in the session, in our overall training and overview, I'm going to turn off my camera just to spare my bandwidth. We're going to be flipping back and forth between these tabs. Again, chat, Q&A, keep it rocking out there for us. I'll flip off my camera here for you, though. And we're going to get going on these 4 core topics. Starting first with everybody, collaboration. Ooh, look at that. Voila. Rolled my cursor over that and revealed these 3 key points that we want to go over regarding collaboration. For those of you that are going, whoa, how is she doing that? How is this all of a sudden happening? She's rolling over these and showing some new things. This is Visme's interactive capabilities, specifically within our hotspot functions, being able to do a rollover or hover over effect. We also support pop-up effects. You can bring in video hotspots and audio hotspots. Welcome my CSMs to help me out and send a resource on all things interactivity in Visme, if you'd be so kind. Let's start first with project sharing. Hopping out into my main dashboard view, everybody, and again, we'll continue to kind of go back to that slide. The dashboard, everybody, for those of you that are maybe brand new to Visme, scoping out how it might help you save time on your content creation, this is what we call our dashboard, and it's where you first land when you log into Visme. As you can see, all of my projects are shown here. I am sitting on my home folder. Not only does that home folder have these immediate views here and these projects, I can take back out into the editor, continue working on them. I also have my folder organization, individual projects with fellow collaborators, can be shared with individuals that you need to get feedback from virtually. As I hover on any of these projects, the little 3 vertical dots in the bottom right corner, that's a very helpful, handy menu to be familiar with. That, oh, hold on one second, everybody. Oh, it appears, folks, I apologize. I'm just getting some notes from my team on a direct message here. It sounds like they're not able to send anything into the general channel for all of you, and I apologize for that. What we will do, perhaps it might still work for us to just drop things into the Q&A, and I know that doesn't necessarily seem like the most organized format, and I apologize for that. Little bit of a anecdotal piece here, and kind of just to give context. We just migrated to Zoom webinars. We're still kind of working out the kinks of how our housekeeping is managed in Zoom webinars. So bear with us there, folks. If some of those resources aren't getting to you in the general chat, perhaps our team can just put those out in the Q&A, and perhaps everybody can grab those out from there. All right, everybody, back on scene here. This menu that we're opening up here is going to have some really helpful things to be aware of. Key item I want to get into when it comes to project sharing is the button of Share Project. This window here, everybody, is going to be familiar not only in the dashboard view, but it's also available in your editor. So when you're working on a project, up in the upper right corner, you have your download and share button. That share button is also opening the same window for you. This is from the dashboard how you can actually even publish your project and get the final URL or link that you want to have to share those out Furthermore, this is where I can also manage the ability to be able to share my project with other members potentially in this workspace with me. And we're going to get into the management of users in a workspace, permissioning. We're going to go over that as well as we get into other topics. But as you can see here, I've got several individuals inside of this workspace with me established with active seats. I'm going to go ahead and pick on Catherine. She's going to be demoing and kind of doing some things inside of that project in the editor that we looked at today. So she's going to be my focal point here. What I can then do is offer Catherine 3 different access points to this project because she is a member of my workspace within an activated seat within our premium plan. The 3 options here, let's skip all the way down to the bottom. Full editing access. This means Catherine would be able to log into her own account within this workspace with all of us, and she will locate this project and be able to move it into the editor to be able to make any modifications that are appropriate for her work. There might be some elements inside of that project that are locked that cannot be edited. There might be some specific slides that I want to assign to her so she knows exactly what I need her to work on. And we're going to continue to elongate those particular features and reviewing that as we work our way through the rest of the agenda. But a key thing with that editing piece, folks, is multi-user real-time editing. Another item inside of that collaboration topic. We'll get into that back in the editor here, and Catherine's going to move around, and you'll actually see how she's able, I can actually find her and see visually what is she working on inside that project. We'll get back out there in just a moment. There's also commenting, everybody. Commenting is something I can offer somebody not only in my direct workspace, but for those of you that might be creating content in Visme as a solo creator. You can even provide a shareable link with anyone that allows them to comment. This commenting feature is that two-way communication. I think we've all created content and collaborated in a world where you send somebody a PDF and they send you back a bullet list of changes that you have to decipher, which can be really tricky sometimes. So to eliminate that challenge, what our commenting feature allows you to have is you drop pin drops, draw circles, point arrows, circle things. It's very visual. And you actually get to see those comments from even your external commenters. What you would have then, everybody, is this little URL down at the bottom. You copy that link and then distribute that to your stakeholders that would be providing you comment access. Keep in mind, they're not logging into Visme. They're not coming into your workspace to work on that with you. What they're doing is looking at almost kind of the final version of it or the drafted version, but they're looking at that on their browser window, just like this presentation we're looking at here. And in the control bar down at the bottom, this is where they would then be able to access the commenting feature. They can drop in those pin drops, draw lines, and you get to see all of that translated back in the actual editor where you are working. So this enables you to have as many people commenting all at one time. Again, another huge time savings, right? Instead of passing around a file and everybody has to wait their turn to edit it because you can't edit it at the same time, you can get all these points of feedback back from multiple people in a much quicker way. Furthermore, seeing those directly visually on the project so you know exactly what people are talking about. Even if you did need to have a little bit more clarification on what they're speaking to, or you need to have a little bit more back and forth dialogue, identifying what needs to be done, we have reply threads, everybody. So if I'm going to comment on this and say, Catherine, tag her here, please gut check me on this slide and post it. Catherine would then receive a notification that she has a comment out in this project. She'll get that in her inbox. She clicks on that to navigate right out to where she needs to go, where she can then reply back and forth with me and annotate to tag me as well so I receive further notifications. I'll show you guys what this all looks like in the editor as well. Let's go ahead and close that comment window and let's get back to that collaboration, kind of tackling multiple items here, at least verbally at this stage. Talked about project sharing. Another aspect of project sharing, everybody, I do want to hit on when it comes to multiple people creating in Visme, perhaps. Again, those 3 options in the drop-down window, we covered editing, we covered commenting, viewing access. And in what world does viewing help us? Oftentimes, people might create something in Visme that is pretty mastery. This is mine. I'm using this for my purposes. But you know what? This is a pretty great piece of content. The design is great. The information is even really good. And perhaps it's something that someone might need to repurpose, reuse. But I don't want them to edit the parent version of the project I created. in which case I can offer somebody with viewing access. Offering them that viewing access allows them to, again, go into the Visme account in the workspace where we're working together. They will be able to see the project, but they cannot edit it. Instead, what they would see, and as they hover on it, all they would see is present. So they can view it and see what is exactly going on in this project, but they don't have that edit button. What they would be able to do then is click down that menu and duplicate that project. Being able to then modify their own native copy, why I can trust that any changes they make to their own version of that project do not impact the parent version of the project that I created. So everything is untethered there. And then they, of course, are kind of picking up that project in a much better spot on the field and running it to the finish line. All right, Catherine, I'm going to call on you here. Let's tee you up for, I think it's this tab here. Let's get into that real-time editing. Show you what that real-time editing function looks like, everybody. I'm going to go into the editor in this actual project that we're looking at in that final present mode here. You'll notice all these slides here. Oh, and by the way, everybody, sorry, I'm going to take a little bit of a squirrel moment here. Did you guys happen to see those animated characters on that title slide? Everybody, these are new 3D animated characters, and I was enjoying myself so much working with these yesterday and applying these to this project. We have always had animated characters. This is the new iteration of our characters. They are so flexible. They have all these different poses. I can change their outfit. I change their hair. I change their skin tone. These are so much fun. Where you're going to find those, everybody, is out in the graphics tab underneath 3D characters. In the event you don't see them, it is potential here. You know, we are on an early access list with our team in our workspace. If you're wondering, where are these? How can I get access to these? Out in the main dashboard, you can visit our user community, everybody. Our user community is where we're going to allow our users to be able to raise their hand and get early access to features like the 3D characters, among many other things. In the community, that's also where we're having a lot of conversation going on regarding Visme Forms. Visme Forms. So people are so excited of what Forms is turning out to be. It's in the late stage beta. It's going to have multiple phases of rollout. Head on out to the community, everybody, if you're interested in getting access to some of these early features like this, so you can get into them before everyone else. All right, Catherine, I'm going to come out and find you. Notice, everyone, up here in the upper right corner, I'm going to zoom in really quick. See, there's my friend Catherine. Say hi to Catherine, everybody. I added her into this project this morning and really encouraging her and essentially, you know, giving her that opportunity to come out and start working on another slide here. See that here? Notice how I can actually see Catherine moving around. You know, I think for those of us that have worked inside of, like, you know, Google Suite, for example, we're a Google house here at Visme too. We've had this benefit of being able to do multi-user creation, but we wanted to not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but go a step further. And again, just get so much more visual with it, really enable you with a lot better visibility into where are they, what are they working on. In fact, as Catherine selects things, I can see what she's selected, which tells me that that's locked. Hold on, somebody's working on that. Don't edit that right now. And as soon as she drops it, it's then deselected. And this point of visibility, being able to not only see her working on that slide, but also in the slide flow on the right side, everybody, I'm scrolling over here. I can see what slide Catherine is on specifically. So it's real-time editing, multiple people. We've done some whiteboarding efforts within our team as well on, you know, working sessions on like Community Day Fridays, where we will get into one of our Visme whiteboard templates. And we've had as many as 4 of us in there doing this kind of rough and rugged whiteboarding session with 4 people. So being able to really get into one project at the same time, knowing where everybody is and what they might be working on, is a major form of visibility and enablement. And in fact, visibility is one of our other 4 key topics that we're going over today. Let's get back out to that slide view here, and let's just double check all those points of collaboration that we hit on. Project sharing, checking the box on that one. Commenting, we reviewed that as well. I'm going to get back into the editor and show you where those comments live. And then, of course, we just went over that real-time editing. So we talked about how you can share projects with your team with that commenting access, but where does that live back inside of the editor? Up here also in that upper right corner where you can see I have access to this project, as does Catherine. If I drop open then my commenting window, here is then where those comments are going to live. Clicking on that, notice Catherine just responded to me. So we can go back and forth with all this. Catherine might have returned back on this reply thread for me saying, yeah, Kalyn, looks great. Everything is ready to go on this slide. I love our commenting function because it allows me to almost maintain this virtual to-do list in a way. Up here in the upper right corner of the little comment window, I can then mark this comment as resolved and it washes away. How nice, right? Not only can we then get back into our open comments or focus on just comments for me, perhaps I want to then get out to my resolved comments, but it's just going to wash any of those comments off so that you can kind of use that as a means of double checking that things have been completed as you're getting feedback in from your collaborators or your reviewers. Notice everybody too on this slide here, we're on the slide that is interactive. If you guys are interested on all those interactive things on Visme's support articles, we have an entire overview on how to achieve that pop-up hover effect, but this is what that slide looks like behind the scenes, just to give you a glance at that. With that said, let's get back out to that slide and the full published view here, and let's start talking about visibility. We're going to hit on user permissions, our user audit log, which happens to be a feature within our enterprise plans, as well as version history. Going back to that story I started to kind of hit on a little earlier, I was meeting with somebody at some time ago and asking how, I was a training content creator, in fact, creating a lot of customer facing training content, and a lot of that which has to be fairly unique depending on each specific customer that she's working with. And she was telling me about how when she needs to make something, she can go out and leverage a lot of templates that have been provided to them by the marketing team. And that's great. I'm so glad they have that. But she oftentimes found that, someone's made something out there that I can leverage. So I just don't have to start over from scratch, save a lot of time utilizing something that someone else has made. And the fact that she had to go out to the team virtually, I think they use Teams, in fact, and ask the team, hey, does anybody have a presentation that has this or that? And then she would kind of just have to sit and wait for the team to return, deliver any potentially local files that they had that would allow her to be able to pick that up and repurpose it for her needs. And I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, to have to wait a couple of days before you can actually get your work going, that's something that we don't experience even in our own use case within Visme. And I think a lot of teams can attribute to that as well, with a lot of point being visibility, project sharing, also to the point of user permissions and user management. So let's get back out into the dashboard view here, everybody. Let's start drilling into, if you're looking at Visme as a solution for multiple people who need to create together, up in the upper left corner here, I am in our Visme Enterprise workspace. I'm logged into my account though. You'll notice that up here in the upper right corner, this is my account. And as you might notice, a perk of Visme here is we have a lot of workspaces, a lot of spaces we can get into. But this is where we're demoing from today. It's actually the workspace I created over 4 years ago when I joined the Visme team. So this workspace here has been alive for a long time. But what I want to focus in on is the workspace members area. Within this workspace members, you can procure as many seats as you need to have in Visme, according to the subscription that best fits your needs. Check out our pricing page. We have 4 different tiers on that page that is communicating the features available within each of those plans. And you can have as many active seats within a workspace at that subscription level that you need. What you'll notice here as I scroll down, this is how many seats we have available, how many we're filling right now, and this is my list of users here. Within all of these users in the workspace, they have 2 different default user permissions that I can leverage. Administrator being a permission that are always our owner and our owner of a workspace. That's the person kind of at the top of the pyramid. The owner will always be our initial default administrator, but the owner of the workspace can then come out into here and administer that administer permission to anybody else. And the benefit of that is that those administrative users also have access to manage team members. They can get access to the brand kit, which we're also going to review today. That's in the governance and controls topic. They can also have access to viewing all projects being created across the entire workspace. That's why permissions is falling under the visibility topic. Being able to know what is out here, what is the team creating, being able to search for things and find them, seeing all the folders and what project belongs to who. That point of visibility is a major source of enablement, and it also does start to belly up to the topic of governance and controls. because there's for so long been a world where we're creating things, and oftentimes we don't necessarily know what people are creating. And all of a sudden it gets out into the world. It might have a couple of gotchas when it comes to the branding. It might even have some taboo areas inside of the compliance language we need. So to allow that visibility point for administrative users to really oversee the whole workspace and all the work being done, very powerful tool. Alternatively to administrators, I always like to hit on the fact, though, that there are still partitions in that one workspace. There is cases where you don't want members of your team to be able to see everything. There needs to be levels of privacy. The members' permissions is what you can enable for members of your team who are able to then see only projects that they've created or projects that have been shared with them. Just like I shared and demonstrated how I can grab one of those projects from the dashboard and share it with someone else, I can provide another member access to a project in the workspace, allowing them to go in and find it. But I can rest assured that they're not going to see that project as a member permission in the workspace unless I am giving it to them. So there's still, while we offer visibility and the perks of that, there is still the safeguard that some of your content will remain private, and you can trust that. You'll notice here we do have some custom roles cascading down below those default permissions. The custom roles is going to be available inside of our enterprise plans, and that allows you to perhaps, in the case that I need to provide access to a project or a network of folders to a whole group of people, I can assign those custom roles to multiple people in the workspace. And then instead of selecting each of those users one by one, I can blanket full access to an entire group based off of how I've established those custom roles to my team out in the members area. I'm seeing great interaction happening inside of the chat and inside of questions. Everybody, love it. Keep it coming. Back out to North Star. Let's now hit on the audit log. So it's great to be able to have this visibility point where admin users can see everything. It's great that I can manage those permissions, but inside of our enterprise plan subscription, we wanted to allow an even deeper point of visibility and a collective oversight on not only what team members are doing within the workspace, but also how project work is coming along. That then manifested into our audit log. Back out inside of that last tab, that audit log would be available for admin users inside of the workspace settings network here. Just below workspace members, you'll see then the audit log. 3 key areas within this location of the platform. Member actions, being able to see how everybody is going into Visme, into this workspace, seeing what they've completed. Are they commenting? Are they logging in? Are they editing? Are they deleting things? All of that is going to be pictured here. I have some nice filtering options. Maybe there's just one specific or a couple of specific team members I want to look at individually. Maybe I want to look at only certain actions that members in the workspace can take. And maybe I even want to drill that into a specific time series. I can update that and see that all in this view, but not only that, you might see it right next to all those filters. You can also export this as a CSV and be able to take this back out to perhaps an Excel spreadsheet to do some pivoting and aggregating for additional analysis. I love project tracking. Project tracking allows you to, now let's talk about projects. How are projects being worked on? How much time are they taking? Who are all the collaborators going into that? And sorry for the load speed here, everybody. As you can imagine, like I said, I created this workspace 4 years ago. There are a lot of projects in here, so it's a heavy platform, just a little bit of a load speed there needed. You'll notice here, this is actually even the team, this webinar, going over this webinar here, the total number of hours that have been put into this, the number of team members involved, because as you can see, Catherine has stepped in and helped me, and the number of days I've had it published. I can search for any project by name here and be able to drill into the specific back-end detail of what is the work involved on that project. This here is a great visibility point to help teams understand that ROI. What is our time savings? What was it like before we were working in Visme? Are we getting faster? Are certain projects getting done or certain templates that are being leveraged, are those getting done more quickly than others? Could we potentially evolve some of our templates so that we can help our team work even faster on them? Great point of insight here. And then, of course, we have all projects, because sometimes there's just the need to understand, you find a project out there in the wild, out on that workspace, and you're, "Oh, hey, who made that? When was that last created? And furthermore, when was it last updated? Do we need to be concerned about things being out of date at all?" That is where you can then search for those projects here, search for them by type, search at certain timestamps here, and be able to assess all those details here. Audit log, everybody. In the event some of these features that I'm going over are interesting and you're thinking, you know what, we don't have that right now. It might be interesting to have a little bit more of a personalized overview of that. Please do feel free to reach out to our sales team. You can connect with them out on the Visme Teams page. They are happy to go over these very in detail for you according to your workflows, your processes, and any specific questions that you have. Also under visibility is version history, everybody. Being able to see all the different versions and who's done that change, when was that work performed, marrying that even potentially with your audit log visibility too. Version history is going to be available in any of our Pro Plan subscriptions. You'll be able to leverage that as a single user, as a team. Getting into the editor, you will need to have editing access to a project. If you're an administrator, no worries. You can get into any project living in the workspace. Version history, everybody, is in that hamburger menu drop down. And the version history is right here on the list. Opening that up, I can see all of those saved versions, being able to know who made those edits at what timestamp. Clicking into any of those allows me to be able to see too, what did that project look like at that point in time? And do I need to restore that version? Were there some edits there, changes that happen that just aren't quite right? And we need to modify that. So you'll be able to view that all here in that previous case and move it back to that version just with a click of a button should you need to roll it back. All right, everybody, we're moving really well here. Next topic at hand is going to be our project management scaled updating. 4 topics in this one. At this stage, everybody, forgive me, I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to take a sip of water to help my throat. One sec. All right, we're good to go. Second half of the webinar, rock and roll. Workflows is a project management component. We have 3 key elements to it. I'm going to go over project assignment and slide assignment. Inside of governance and controls, we're also going to review another component to workflows, which is workflow approvals, which is where you can require a user to get approval on a project before they can even download or publish it. So again, those guide rails, making sure you have oversight to things before things even get taken out into the world. We also have slide library, which is a component of our presentations, everybody. Being able to have a master slide that's locked, that you can trust nobody can edit. This is very mastery information. It can be edited by your admin users inside of one place, and when they do edit it, it's going to scale the updates of that slide library slide within every single presentation in the workspace where that slide was used. Massive savings, right? I mean, we ourselves leverage that quite a bit. Not only do we leverage slide library, but we also utilize dynamic fields. I'm going to show you guys how dynamic fields works. That is a component of text and details within a text box that need to be updated, but that information might live in a lot of different places, not just in presentations, but perhaps inside of infographics and documents. It lives in a lot of different format types, but being able to scale that update and control it from a single source, we're going to go over that. And also asset updating. Available inside of that Pro Plan subscription as well. If there is an image inside of here, if your logo updates, if you have an outdated image and you need to replace it, maybe it's a product image, or maybe it's an image of a team member or someone within the organization that, you want to replace that with someone else. That asset updating allows you to update an image or a video and have that scale that update across the entire workspace wherever that asset was being used. Let's get back into the editor view and hit on workflows first. Everyone, workflows has 2 components, project assignment as well as slide assignment. Inside of the Visme Pro Plan subscription, you up in the upper area of your editor view, when you want to open a project, let me close that version history. It's a little distracting. There we go. Up here, you can see I have my project title name. Right next to it, I have analytics below it that allows me to open the analytics of this project. And in fact, if this has been published, if it's being viewed out online, I can see what those analytics look like right here. I can also get back into that inside of the dashboard view under the data tab, everybody. It's the very bottom option in that left sidebar. You can get into the data analytics out there too. Right next to it, though, is the assign button. Just a quick thing before I drop that open. Because I am sitting in this demo space inside of an enterprise plan, it's going to look a little different for our pro plans, but it's pretty similar. If I dropped out this assign window where I have approver here, you would see assign if you were within Visme's pro subscription. Being able to take this project, you know, I'm a manager here at Visme, right? Leading our sales and CS team. If we are going to collaborate and work on something together, could then assign this project to another person who really is going to be in charge of making sure the follow through of this entire build is completed by the team. By assigning them that project and giving them a due date, they will receive notification of that. They'll get an email saying, hey, oh, we've got a project that needs to get worked on. And they'll be able to go out here and see that due date and any additional notes or captions I've left for them, any specific instructions. So this is eliminating that need to potentially go out to Teams or Slack and communicate that potential deadline and that work that needs to be done, keeping it all centralized inside of the solution where the content is being created anyways. So whole project assignment, in order to give somebody that heads up, we need to get this project created. We then even take it even a step further and break that down into what we call slide assignment. Let's say I did want to assign this project to, I'll now call on my other CSM here with me today, Alan. Let's say Alan is going to head up this project getting created and completed by the team, and we got a lot of different people that need to come in. Alan could then step into this project, and he might then need to start assigning and delegating the slide work to different members of the team. In order to do that, over here, I'm going to zoom in, everybody, because it can be a little hard to see. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Nice and close. This little ellipses here off to the upper left side corner of each of your slides. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just so we get the full view. We drop that open, and this is where now individual slides can be assigned to members inside of the workspace. If Alan then wants to designate this particular slide, to be worked on by Catherine, he'll assign that. He can then acknowledge that this is to do. So Catherine gets that visibility, and notice as I change these, because Catherine might come in and start working on it and say it's in progress. And then once it's done, she'll mark it as done. You get that nice little high level visibility point into how is the work coming along in here. Being able to see how that is being accomplished. Maybe Catherine's doing work here. She completes this slide, but maybe then after that, she wants to leave one of those comments for Alan to come out and double check. Again, that commenting functionality, while it can be done on the outside, the external viewing of this project, you can also leave comments in this window here. Alan. There's Alan there. This is done. Please double check. Pardon the typos. There we go. So this is where things really start to kind of compile. And, you know, we kind of create this figure eight of some of these features all coming together to allow a lot of this project work to be completed, to offer that visibility and collaboration. Notice then on that left sidebar, all of these slides do have that little ellipses, so all of these can be assigned to individual team members. Now, the project assignment and the slide assignment with workflows, everybody, I'm going to go back out into the dashboard view here and get out into the main area. Over here on the left sidebar is our content calendar. All of that task management and project due date is going to be visualized out here in the content calendar. So that, again, project management, full visibility, being able to know, ooh, project work is coming up. We've got a deadline for a project. How is that project progressing? If that project had a due date, it would be visualized out here in this calendar. Team members would then be able to click on that, see what is this project exactly, clicking on a button to open that in the editor, even at a high level view, being able to see in terms of this project and its overall completion, is there a lot of work still pending? Is there a lot of still work left to do? Or is all the work according to the assignments, is it done? You get that high level visibility in the content calendar. So you can just, even as soon as you log in, find a location that allows you to get a hint of what's coming up and what do we need to get ahead on. All right, let's get back out into this slide right here and again, get back out to scaled updating. We will go over the other component of workflows, everybody, relating to workflow approvals when we get into that governance and controls. Let's go over slide library though. Back in the editor, I'm going to get out to this slide right down here. I'm going to zoom in. Notice this slide here, everybody, is labeled with that little tab slide library. Slide library slides could be created and added to your slide library with any slide you're creating inside of one of your core templates. Maybe, in fact, we really like this thank you slide. We want to use that all the time and have it consistent. You click on that gear icon, open up that menu, and add that to your library. I can then rename it if I want to. I think that's a fair name to have, though. So I'm going to click Save. And I can now use that slide in any future presentation. We, as potentially even template managers and creators and owners of the content, might decide that we want to have that particular slide added into our master templates. So our team always has it when they're opening it up. This slide library slide here, though, notice a key component of slide library is the fact that those slide library slides are locked, everybody. I'm not able to edit this. And that's by design. Because this is master content, we don't want anybody to just go out there and potentially tamper with this. We want it to stay locked in place. Furthermore, if any updates need to happen on this slide, your admin users back out in the dashboard view, underneath the slide library area, will be able to find all relative slide library slides saved, edit them, move them into the editor and make any changes. Therefore, once those changes are done, it will scale that update out to every single presentation where that slide was used. So whole slide design locked and being able to be managed from one place. Project management, scaled updating. The third item on that project management and scaled updating topic, everybody, is dynamic fields. Notice this little text box right here on my slide. Kind of looks a little funny, right? This is a dynamic field. This means then that that text box could be selected. I'm going to use that side because, again, remember our slide library slide is locked. So let's get out to one that is editable. Let's go out to Catherine's slide she was working on. This text box right here, perhaps I need to have that dynamic field placed within it. Dynamic fields, it's a similar concept. We want to manage text-based information from a single source. And that text box and that dynamic field for that text could not only be in presentations, but in a lot of other projects. Selecting that text box up in the menu up here in the top left is the little lightning bolt for dynamic fields. These are all of those custom dynamic fields that can be created. This is available in a pro plan. You unlock a lot more custom dynamic fields. I think in a pro plan, you have up to 8. You unlock that limit when you move into our enterprise plan subscription. But here's then in this window, I'm going to add in that number of users. Any user in the workspace will be able to insert that dynamic field. Key thing here, though, right, with regards to permissioning. Only admin users, which I am in this workspace, are able to edit the details of that dynamic field. So when I hover on it, see, I get that little pencil that's saying that I can edit this. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 25.5. We just got that update on a company-wide meeting yesterday. Our user base is growing, everybody, getting really high up there in the millions. Updating that dynamic field, it asked me, are you sure you want to update this, everyone? I'm going to say yes, please, because I don't want to do that manually. I want to save time. Here is then, everybody, what that slide said prior to. Let's see if I've got that in this window. Okay, so originally that dynamic field, everybody, see it pictured here? It had 24.5 million. See that? But I updated that dynamic field inside of Catherine's slide, which was right here, right? But this was what the text was originally. Any of these published projects and these URLs you're sending out into the world, they're always going to be live. Any changes you make to your content will always push out. I'm just going to refresh my window here, though, to demonstrate that. You'll see that that headline has changed to 25.5 million. On that next slide as well, where we originally had the 24.5, watch this. There it is. So dynamic fields, updating from a single source for text boxes. Let's then to our next one, the fourth one on the scaled updating topics and project management and governance. Any images or assets located throughout your workspace, everybody, can be updated at scale as well. If there is an image that you have added in to Visme, that is going to live in the My Files area. My Files is your digital asset management capability. Not only can you house templates that allow your team to start their creative work, but you can also reassure that you can organize things in My Files for the assets they need, creating folders, having things be nicely organized here. In the event any of these assets needed to be updated, you can hover on that and open up the gear icon, getting into the window view here where I can then see every project where this asset is being used, another point of visibility there. Under the options window, this is where then you can click that replace button, upload a new asset in order to have that asset replaced across the entire workspace just from this window. I have a video for that. I welcome any of you to reach out to me. and potentially get access to that video so you can actually see that happening in real time. I'm going to save time on this webinar though, because I'm getting tight for time and I've got one whole topic to go over yet, everybody. Let's get out to that slide where we have our North Star here, our diagram. Let's just revisit the points though of project management and scaled updates. We covered workflows, slide library, dynamic fields, and asset updating. Massive components to save you loads of time rather than having to do your manual content updating. Do it all at once. Governance and controls, brand area, templatizing and templates, locked objects, and workflow approvals. The brand area, everybody, really from the core, and it's one of those first things that our team will encourage anybody coming into Visme to do as their first step. When you get out into your workspace and you move into the Visme Pro Plan subscription, you immediately unlock the Visme brand area. This is where you'll be able to drop in your logo to have those depicted on your published project pages. Of course, you'll have your logo out inside of the My Files area, likely created in a nice network folder of logos so people can find all the logo variations they need. This is also where you upload your fonts. You can search inside of our library of available fonts. We have over 300 of them though. So if you can search for them by name and find them, but in the event you have specialty fonts that we don't have in our system, rest assured you can upload those. You're going to want your .ttf or .otf font files, load them up, and you will allow yourself and your team to have easy access to those, applying those to your content so things stay on brand, governance, and controls. Color palettes, being able to have as many color palettes as you need, everybody, naming those accordingly, setting your primary and secondary, allowing the team to drop down the color menu and get access to any of these multiple brand color palettes that you need, whether it's for your own organization brand or maybe you're starting to get into co-branded experiences. Being able to not only marry your brand with a client or prospect, but people love that. So being able to know and trust that you have all of those color palettes nicely organized in here and they're accurate, that's a huge source of enablement. So if teams aren't going out and trying to define those colors and color picking off of websites, it just lives right in the app. Furthermore, we're going to now drip into, in the brand area, we're going to talk about templates. It is over here on that left sidebar, everybody, where we then have our templates window. So look, everyone, we have this massive library of templates available for you, right? I'm going to streamline out into our templates window from the dashboard, clicking that create new button, going out into our template library. And this is where, again, helicopter ride, take it all in, all of the different format types and the thousands and thousands of design templates that we bring you in order to jumpstart your creative process. I mean, Visme is really created for the non-designer in mind. You know, non-designers and advanced designers can all come on in here and trust on that time savings. And a huge aspect of that is these templates. But a lot of these templates, they're kind of giving you that general branding, which you obviously can modify and fully adapt. Whether you are wanting to take advantage of any of Visme's templates here, or perhaps you want to even upload your own PowerPoint files, you can do that also from the create button in the dashboard. Generally, we have folks finding they start to make things that are much farther down the field and they want to use those and they want to enable their team with those, potentially even not even having Visme's templates available at all. Because governance, right? Providing this creative opportunity could be risky. So what the brand area allows you to do is inside of the templates tab, search for any projects by name. I'm going to search webinar. I'll have all of my webinar presentations pop up for me then. Being able to then add those in as potential templates so your team can use those. Furthermore, under the settings tab, this is now where we whittle away those creative opportunities even more. You've uploaded your brand fonts, but Visme has all of our default fonts, right? Maybe you don't want those default fonts. Rest assured, turn those off so only your brand fonts are available. Color palettes, same thing. That little plus sign means your team can select any color in the rainbow. That could be dangerous too, right? Turn that off so that your team only has access to the brand color palettes that you've added to the brand area for them. I'm going to zoom out and come down here to the bottom and zoom in again. I know I zoom in and out a lot. I hope I'm not making you all dizzy, but I like to be able to let you see everything up close. The Visme offers all of our templates too, right? But if you're bringing your own brand templates into the brand area, you can tell Visme to turn our templates off. Let's go back to permissions really quick here. We made an adaptation last year that even though your brand templates are turned off, member and administrator permissions also play a role here. We learned from our user base that even though they wanted Visme's templates off, they still had administrative users that they wanted to be able to go out and find Visme templates, be able to edit those and work on them, and again, add them into the brand area. So the way that our permissions are set up is if you have Visme's templates turned off, your member permissions, any users in the workspace set up as a member will only see your branded templates. However, your admin users will still be able to go out into that create window and be able to leverage Visme's templates, potentially modifying those and getting them ready so that the members of the workspace can use those as well once you've added them into the brand area. We moved really quick through that, everybody. Hopefully not too fast for you. Keeping an eye on our time here. We talked about brand area, templates. Now let's talk about how locked objects can be a component of your templates that you're adding into the brand area for your team.